He thought he had it all figured out, that leaving me was his ticket to a better life. Little did he know, his grand escape would lead him right back to a world of regret. My name is Isabella, and this is the story of how my ex, Noah, learned the hard way that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Noah and I had been together for 4 years. We were that couple, the one everyone thought was destined for the altar. We had built a life together, shared dreams, inside jokes, and a cozy little apartment filled with memories. I thought our foundation was solid, made of trust and love. But one day, that foundation crumbled into dust, and it started with a single, misplaced text message. It was a Tuesday night. I was making dinner, humming along to some music, waiting for Noah to get home from work. His phone, which he'd left on the kitchen counter, buzzed. I glanced at it, thinking it was just his mom. But the name on the screen wasn't his mom's. It was a name I didn't recognize, accompanied by a message that made my blood run cold. Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. My heart hammered against my ribs. I picked up the phone, my hands shaking. I shouldn't have, I know, but I couldn't stop myself. A few taps revealed a history of messages, a secret life he'd been living behind my back. He hadn't been working late. He hadn't been at the gym. He had been with her. When Noah walked through the door a few minutes later, a cheerful, "Honey, I'm home," on his lips, he found me sitting at the table, his phone in front of me, tears streaming down my face. The smile vanished from his face. He knew. There was no denial, no excuse, just a cold, hard confession. He'd met someone, and he'd fallen for her. He said he was sorry, but his words were empty, hollow. He wasn't sorry for cheating, he was sorry for getting caught. The breakup was swift and brutal. Within a week, Noah had packed his bags and moved out. Not into his own place, but straight into hers. Her name was Chloe. A quick look at his social media, which I soon blocked for my own sanity, showed them flaunting their new relationship. Pictures of them on romantic dates, captions about finding his true soulmate. It was like our 4 years together meant nothing. I was just a chapter he'd closed without a second thought. The pain was suffocating. I felt discarded, worthless. Every corner of our apartment screamed his name. Friends and family rallied around me, telling me I deserved better, that he was a fool. I knew they were right, but my heart refused to listen. For weeks, I was a ghost, just going through the motions. I cried myself to sleep and woke up with a heavy heart. The man I had planned my future with had replaced me in the blink of an eye. But then, one morning, something shifted. I woke up, and instead of reaching for a tissue, I reached for my running shoes. I was tired of being sad. I was tired of letting him occupy so much space in my head. It was time to reclaim my life. This wasn't about revenge in the traditional sense. It wasn't about getting even. It was about getting better. My best revenge would be my own happiness, a life so full and vibrant that his memory would just fade away. I started small. I deep cleaned the apartment, packing away every last trace of him. I rearranged the furniture, bought new art, and made the space entirely my own. I threw myself into my work, taking on new projects that challenged and excited me. I reconnected with old friends, went out, laughed until my sides hurt, and tried new things I'd always wanted to do but never had the time for. I took a pottery class, started hiking on weekends, and even booked a solo trip to Italy I'd always dreamed of. Slowly but surely, Isabella 2.0 started to emerge. I was stronger, more confident, and happier than I had been in years, even when I was with Noah. I realized that our relationship had been holding me back in subtle ways. I had been so focused on us that I had forgotten about me. About 6 months after our breakup, I ran into one of Noah's friends at a coffee shop. After some awkward small talk, he let it slip that things weren't as perfect in Noah's new world as they seemed online. Apparently, the honeymoon phase with Chloe had ended abruptly. The thrill of the forbidden had worn off, and reality had set in. They argued constantly. She was jealous and controlling, and Noah was starting to realize that the perfect woman he'd left me for was, well, not so perfect. A small, satisfying smirk played on my lips as I listened, but I just nodded politely and wished him well. A few weeks later, the first text from Noah arrived. "Hey, saw your pics from Italy. Looks amazing. Hope you're doing well." I ignored it. A week later, another one. "I've been thinking about you a lot." Delete. Then came the calls, which I let go to voicemail. His desperation grew. One evening, there was a knock on my door. It was him. He looked terrible. He was thinner, with dark circles under his eyes. The confident man who had walked out 6 months ago was gone, replaced by a picture of misery. "Isabella, can we please talk?" he begged. I reluctantly let him in, but I remained standing, my arms crossed. He launched into a long, rambling apology. He told me leaving me was the biggest mistake of his life. He said Chloe was nothing like me, that he missed our conversations, my cooking, our quiet nights in. He missed us. He missed me. I saw your social media, he said, his voice cracking. You look so happy. You're traveling, you're smiling, you're thriving. And I'm just miserable. He explained that he and Chloe had broken up. He said he finally understood what he had lost. I was a fool, Izzy. I threw away everything for a cheap thrill. Can you ever forgive me? Can we try again? I listened to him, and I didn't feel anger or even sadness. I felt nothing. The man standing in front of me was a stranger. The love I once had for him was gone, replaced by the love I had found for myself. Noah, I said, my voice calm and steady. I've heard your apology, and I accept it. I hope you find your own happiness. But us? That ship has sailed, and it's not coming back. I'm not the same person you left. I had to rebuild my life from the ashes you left behind, and I built it for me. There's no room for you in it anymore. The look of utter defeat on his face was something I'll never forget. He had expected me to be waiting, to welcome him back with open arms. He couldn't comprehend that I had truly moved on and built a better life without him. He thought he could just walk back in and pick up where he left off. But my life was no longer a place he could call home. He left that night, and I haven't heard from him since. Sometimes I think about him, not with bitterness, but with a sense of gratitude. His betrayal was the catalyst for the greatest transformation of my life. He had to lose me to realize my worth, but I had to lose him to realize my own. And that was the best revenge of all. My happiness was my victory, and it was a victory I had earned all by myself. So if you're going through something similar, remember this: focus on you. Rebuild, rediscover, and rise. Your best life is waiting for you on the other side of that heartache. Thanks for listening to my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.